And then we need to move to our major story of the day. So the Court of Appeal in Abuja today has suspended the execution of the judgment delivered by Justice Peter Alifu, deregistering the African Democratic Party ADC, Action People's Party APP, Action Alliance AA, Accord Party AP, and the Zenith Labour Party ZLP. The appellate court described the development as the highest form of judicial impertinence, stating that the trial judge brazenly disregarded his earlier order. The panel of justices held that Justice Lifu exhibited judicial rascality by going ahead to hear and make the order despite the order of the Court of Appeal and the pendency of the matter before the court. It ordered a stay of the execution of the judgment. It was only yesterday that doom was pronounced on those 5 political parties, and those political parties were declared dead, legally speaking, and perhaps some of them might be closing shops and saying bye-bye to political participation. But today, if you are a student of the Bible, if you know what they call Lazarus in the Bible, how Jesus rose him from the dead when all hope was lost, it was a Lazarus situation for these 5 political parties in the last 1 hour, and a very landmark decision or judicial direction in our country today. And let me get some real player right who sat right in front of the courtroom today and who are part of those who are being hit also by this judgment. I'm being joined by the national chairman of the ZLP, the Zenith Labour Party, a lawyer and a former presidential candidate, Barrister Dan Wanyao. Thanks so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm the current presidential candidate too.
Of the party, yes.
Not former.
You've run before, but you are still on the ballot right now. Unfortunately, from yesterday's pronouncement, you would have not been able to.
No, it's not true.
Yeah.
We'll
get into it. Yeah. And I have the leader and the chairman of all of the political party under the umbrella of IPAC, who is also the national chairman of APM. Alhaji Yusuf Dantele. Thanks so much indeed.
Thank you for having me, Isha.
It was a solidarity attendance in court today, as far as you are concerned.
Yes, solidarity, yes, and to defend democracy that we swore to as Interparty Advisory Council. What we had Council General Assembly yesterday to review what has been happening. I was in this studio. We mentioned we talked about the Electoral Act, how some of the provisions of the Act is meant to disenfranchise some persons, and then some of the developments that are happening afterwards. The election is a process, it is not an event. INEC rolled out timetable the first time the Electoral Act was reviewed. INEC timetable, was released, and INEC timetable was reviewed. Okay, altering some of the arrangements. Then after that, we now have all the programs in the timetable became a crash program that parties have to rush to put up till now. I am aware, and I think every Nigerian is aware that there are so many people who want to aspire or contest for certain offices in Nigeria that cannot because of the provisions of the Electoral Act. And then you move from there after allowing the parties to go and conduct primary elections across the 36 states of Nigeria to contest their election. They have produced candidate. It's just for INEC to release the code. Then some faceless organization in the name of something legislative, former legislators that we do not know what their contribution is to democracy in Nigeria went to court. This we are made to understand that this association was registered just last year, 2025, but maybe for this purpose. The whole thing is it is painful, and then as Nigerians, we should be ashamed of ourselves if we are in a position of leadership to deal with what is happening. Africa is supposed to look up to Nigeria as a big brother. We have gone to Benin Republic to enthrone democracy. But here we are now busy trying to see that we disenfranchise some people, we exclude some people from the system. Why? So that is why IPAC will have to come out fully to say, no, this is not what the ethics of democracy is supposed to be. It is about the people. It is about leadership. It is about representation. It's about inclusion. It's about fairness. It's about competition. Nigerians have to choose who they want democratically. We shouldn't bring in some things. Why would you come up parties that have got... Adeleke is going to contest election as the governor of Osun in 1.5 or 2 months. There is an election in Ekiti. Some of these parties are contesting election. Parties have produced candidates, and the next thing you want to do is no, it is not acceptable.
Do you see, those who say that the selection or the 5 political parties involved here who would have been injured by yesterday's ruling of Justice Lifu's court? Does it surprise you, the combination of those political parties? Why do you think those political parties? Because they said they did not meet compliance standards.
Which is not true. Which is not true. INEC, that's the regulatory body, is in court. INEC said no, that these parties meet the standard to remain as political parties. So what is the interest of the people, okay, who are coming to say they should register the parties? If parties are to be registered, I think that should come from INEC.
You see the hand of the ruling party in all of this?
I don't know. Whoever is involved, the person should be ashamed of himself as Nigerian, that with all the problems we have, that with the children that have been abducted, and some of the election have been slaughtered, and the general being killed like chicken, and what is happening, the xenophobic attack on Nigerians in South Africa and in some other African countries, it is a call for us to come back and fix Nigeria. And Nigerians should elect who they want to fix Nigeria, not anybody deciding what should be done. It is enough.
Let me call on to a servant in the temple of justice, Chief Dan Owanyawu. And I'd like you to appraise Justice Peter Lifu's ruling of yesterday. Before I come to the position of the Court of Appeal today, what is your assessment of Justice Peter Lifu's ruling from yesterday?
He was either compromised or he compromised himself. You see, law based on facts and evidence. It's not based on persuasion. It's not based on somebody teleguiding you. ADC won election in the last exercise. Ito Accord. Ito my party. These were deposed before the judge. And in that particular section 225A, they won. The minimum threshold for a political party to cross is winning 1 councillorship seat.
And your party did?
We won 50 local governments, 176 councillors, Abia, Nasarawa, Rivers before they took Rivers. Ditto most of the parties. Lifu did not look at the evidence. He was not interested. He was just pursuing an agenda. He was just pursuing an agenda. Even the local standard of those that came to court. The issue was raised. They wanted to amend the name they came in with. Without an order of court, Lifu gave them locus. And so many other things that went wrong during the process. That was how some parties went to Court of Appeal. Put these things up before the Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal say no. Wait, tarry a while. Tarry a while. Let me hear this thing.
And it's supposed to be the judgment. The
judgment was supposed to be on the 5th. The judgment of Lifu was supposed to be on the 5th. But the Court of Appeal gave this stay on the 22nd of last month. On the 5th, we went to court. Lifu did not come out. Then yesterday, 9, 10, they opened the WhatsApp group, communicated the lawyers to come to court for judgment. Then he gave his judgment. You see, but first of all, let me tack the learned justices of the Court of Appeal. We still have men of integrity in the judiciary. Forget about Lifu. You know, there are the trio. There are the trio in the Court of Appeal that belongs to one particular person. Anytime you have a case against to the trio, run away. Don't ask me the trio. Don't ask me the three judges.
He will come to
because
he will come to equity.
Because you know them.
You know he will come to equity. If you are alleging, you must be able to prove.
So let me tell you.
Who are the trio?
The cases are there.
Who are the trio?
Lifu. In fact, the Court of Appeal said it today. That he is not fit to be on the bench. The Court of Appeal says so today. So it doesn't have to come from our mouth. Your conduct in courts, your behavior during trials, during processes in courts, will give you out that you are working for a group of people. But let me warn. You see, I'm a member of this profession. And some of the things happening, we were not taught in school. A judge will come to court. What does he do? He's focused on arriving at his destination without looking at facts and evidence. With the Court of Appeal addressed today, with all the facts, all these courts, assuming without conceding, that all these 5 parties did not file anything before Justice Lifu. INEC is the only body given the rights, the constitutional right by our constitution, to register and deregister political parties. INEC coming to court to say, we have done due diligence on these 5 parties. They passed the threshold established by Section 225A. That should suffice. So why should Justice Lifu, who gave him the evidence that these parties did not qualify? How did he get it? INEC, charged with the responsibility, is telling you, no, stop. We have records that all these 5 parties are qualified to continue to exist as a political party. But if you say no, I have it in my heart, I have it in my head, they are not qualified, and I'm arriving at that decision, which arrived yesterday. He made a caricature of himself. And the Court of Appeal says so today. We have been in court since
you may, as a servant in the temple of justice, you may disagree with a call of how the judgment, because it doesn't appeal or it doesn't favor you. But we must be careful the way we call names on those who
that is
at the bench.
There's no that judge in the court that did the judgment, that justice, Peter Lifu. Why will I not call his name?
No, the point I'm making is the manner in which you're talking about that justice. One needs to be careful.
No.
Because
Court of Appeal says so today.
So you are referencing Court of Appeal.
Higher court than him. That this person is not fit to be in the bench. And it was predicated on the facts in our profession. That is what we call stare decisis.
Mm-hmm.
You must obey the order of a higher court. That is what where you come, you have hierarchy of courts.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, Justice Lifu was reminded by all the counsels in the case that Court of Appeal, that's a case pending before Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal has stayed proceedings in this case. He said, I'm aware. I will take care of that in my judgment. The other person raised it. I'm aware. I'll take care of that in my judgment. In fact, there was one counsel he warned. You should be careful. He went that. All these things came before the Court of Appeal today. All.
Let me ask you quickly. The Court of Appeal seems to have given some temporary relief in this state of execution. But should Nigerians see this as a victory for constitutional democracy, or is simply a temporary reprieve from an eventual deregistration that could happen?
No, what Court of Appeal did would say, look, stop. Don't go ahead. Let me hear the whole
temporary reprieve.
Yes, let me hear the matter. Let me hear the matter. Because it was also brought before the court that the election will be taking place on Saturday in some constituencies across the country. Some of these parties are on the ballot. You cannot go ahead and execute it. You see, the problem we have in this country is that when we see white, we call it black. Just as you are telling me, don't call Lifu. There are no two judges.
Oh, no, I'm not saying don't call Lifo. I'm saying because for whatever misconduct, just a moment, sir. For whatever misconduct a member of a judicial panel or a member of the bench does, you know, sir, that the right way to deal with such a person is the NJC to take the matter before the NJC. It might not be as a citizen of Nigeria, and especially because you are also a lawyer, that one has to be careful in the manner in which you address a judge or a justice in any of our courts.
When a masquerade start misbehaving in the market square, you will tell him what. Oh, let me put it better. When a masquerade is behaving in a manner that it has become uncontrollable, you will tell him how he was made. It's like a king that doesn't say the truth, a king that lies. You will put basket in front on your face and tell him the truth. Look, we are not afraid of anything. Most people today are tired. We're not afraid of all these things. The problem we have in this country is that we don't say the truth. You see white, you call it black. I don't want to even tell you those behind this thing because you will also ask me, how did I know?
Who are those?
I say, come on. So ask me another question.
No, because Nigerians. So the problem we don't call a spade a spade.
Yes.
And we have always been covering up people. The day we start calling out people and calling them the names of who they are, I think we start solving the problem of Nigeria. Is it not the saving and not calling them terror financiers? We refuse to name them. We refuse to name them. If there is someone who is badly behaved, I don't call them out. Who are the people?
We saw the so-called plaintiffs and the respondents in court today. You look at them. These are people who have failed in their professions.
Exactly. Old men.
Hungry-looking old men. They came there. They are told to go and do that. Even when they filed this case in December last year, Zenny Labour Party was not there. There was hue and cry that it was because of ADC. They went and added Zenny Labour Party, added Accord and others. They have also taken APM and RM to court just 2 days ago. The same group.
Oh, APM and RM
yes, they've taken them to court. So you can see they don't want contest. Why is it that they don't want contest? Are you doing this thing, for example, that the caliber of person like Atiku will not contest election? Or Olongpa, you are lying. Are you saying I will not contest for president? I want to be president to correct things. I will contest. I have passed through the processes of primaries according to the law. My party has won all the necessary winnings within the Electoral Act, which I deposed to the courts with the certificate of returns, just like others. A judge refused to see it. You said I should not call his name.
So the question,
was he born by a man?
This is just a temporary reprieve. What eventually this goes down and the deregistration? This is not the first time we are seeing the deregistration of political parties in Nigeria. What happens?
You see, I don't want to anticipate things. We are very sure, just like when you are doing your intro, you said some of these parties may be packing, closing shops and all that. That has never disturbed us. We knew we won election, Shehu. You cannot use your hand to cover pregnancy. It is on record. You can't use your hand and cover pregnancy. It must be seen. And this has been brought before the learned justices of the Court of Appeal. We saw them today. We saw they were asking relevant questions. We saw that they were interested in getting into the justice of the matter. So these facts will be brought before them. If these facts were brought before you, and INEC is saying these people are qualified, that's why I told you that assuming we didn't put any defense, and INEC as a body charged with the responsibility of registering and registering political parties, came up with the resolution, came up with this position that, look, these people are qualified, they should not be registered. Shouldn't that suffice? SLIFU has no powers to order INEC to deregister a party because the Constitution gives INEC the sole power to register a political party.
For those who are criticizing Justice Lifu, but let me ask you, in all honesty, There are those who think that there are lazy political parties. There are political parties who are just making the numbers. They are just on the list. Sometimes we think that our ballot paper is too long. In the real sense of it, can political parties exist and not do anything, not meeting the constitutional threshold? Is it not possible for us to also challenge political parties to say, look, we cannot exist for the sake of existence. You've got to do your room as political parties. Is that not a lesson for political parties? This particular lawsuit, it may have an upside too, isn't it?
Thank you, Sean. We should always address the foundations of problems. Are some people who are also maybe suffering the same thing that they did yesterday. Political party is a public property. It's not meant to be anybody's property. And for that reason, parties were funded, subventions were granted by federal government, like every other public institution. And that is why INEC regulates and also audit our accounts,
the books,
fundings and campaign expenses and all that. Then because you think Mr. ABC is in party ABC, you should stifle the party of funds so that your own party, you that you are in government, can now have the resources, okay, to drive your parties. Now, there are so many things that your party, the parties in government, can do that it will be difficult for the man who is a farmer like me, okay, to bring his money from the farm to go and begin to do. You understand? So until parties are established, okay, to operate on equal or fair footing, this will continue. The parties, no party is weak. APC is a combination or it's a summation of about 3 political parties. And they are in government. They have about 30-something governors today. So it is easier for them to drive some of the things. Like the membership registration with Menin inclusion, APC started a long time ago and they ran this thing very effectively, very smoothly because they have the funds. But some other parties cannot, or they can't do that. The same way the issue of primaries that we are talking about, direct, indirect, and the consensus. Now you can see the outcome of consensus. You understand? The outcome of consensus as it is, because most parties do not have the wherewithal to go for direct primaries. Now the consensus have succeeded in taking so many people out because some parties are afraid or wouldn't want to go to unnecessary litigations, thereby disenfranchising a lot of Nigerians. So if we must get these things right, the constitution, the enabling law must be designed in a way that it will be classical, that will favor Nigeria.
So this for you,
because, and that is why I'm coming. I'm sorry. That is why when this issue of Electoral Act came, the Interparty Advisory Council and other stakeholders in this country met with the National Assembly Joint Committee on the review of Constitution and Electoral Act. 100% of what we put in, 100% of what INEC put in to the legislature, none of them was considered. I was listening to one of the legislators who was speaking in a local dialect. Maybe he thought I am one of them. Allow them to do what they want to do. If we go, we'll do what we want to do. I had it. It is a very bad one. And that, if we are not careful, where Nigeria is going into, all of us, whether you are in power, you are not in power, you will regret that you are in Nigeria, unless we allow the right thing to be done. Some people who were in power yesterday, today they are fighting. What they did, they had the opportunity to correct some of these things yesterday that they didn't correct it. So for you to have it, you can, if you like, correct it. If you like, don't correct it. You one day, if you don't leave the power will leave you.
Let me ask you: is this more of politics than law?
It is more politics. Yes, it is. It's about politics. Because now look at it. For some time now, about 60, let me say 50% of major opposition parties who have candidates to field do not have stable leadership. Today, this person is the leader of that party. Tomorrow, that person is the leader of that, the chairman of that party. So it's a very unstable leadership, using the courts or a few elements in the judiciary to orchestrate these things. Then today, parties have succeeded. Some parties got some got judgment to be registered. Parties have succeeded after fielding candidates that you are now sure that they are candidates. The next thing is, how do we clean up the parties illegally? And here's where we are.
Illegally,
so of course, it's illegally because
illegally through legal means.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we must be very careful by what we are planting today, because the children are watching us. The students are also learning. While in the court today, some lawyers were pointing that law students were in the court. What kind of judicial precedent are we setting today?
All right. Give me a moment. We need to go on a break. But you mentioned something earlier that in Osun,
yes.
Interestingly, in Osun State, there was a flag off of the campaign.
Yes,
and there are those who said that before the campaign, the party on which platform Governor Adeleke was standing on had been deregistered. But tonight, I'll try to get a feeler of what is happening in the camp of Governor Adeleke. Part of the political parties that would have been gone by the judgment of yesterday. But we'll be back, everyone, after this break. I've been speaking with Chief Dan Uwayan, who is the national chairman of the ZLP and the presidential candidate of the party. And Alhaji Yusuf Dantale is the chairman of APM, equally the chairman of the umbrella body of all political parties in Nigeria, IPAC. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for joining us tonight at the program.